So I chose my Evaluate to talk about for the part of the 5E learning plan that I feel most proud of and passionate about. So for my Evaluate, I am having students conduct a social action curriculum plan, or in other words, a Project Citizen. I was able to take Brian Schultz's class and got to do a project like this myself and see how engaging and creative and impactful for me it was, which is why this social action curriculum plan is so significant to me, and I would love for my students to experience some extent of this project within my classroom. So for a little background, in my Explore, social inertia was introduced and students created a collage with relevant social issues portrayed in the media, and their collages could include things like article titles or newspaper clippings that represent movements that represent social inertia. So then for my Evaluate, from their collage or a peer's collage, students will select one of the issues in which they feel the most passionate about, and students will conduct research in the community, within the classroom, and through multiple other sources and resources and observations to create a website. And within this website, they will present all of their findings on this social issue, but they will explain these issues using scientific terms that were discussed earlier in the lesson. So I had physics, so these terms could be, again, inertia, acceleration, matter. And so students will be creating a plan and design a proposed solution to this issue. So over time, as students develop their website, which includes the scientific terms, so they're explaining these social issues with the scientific terms and applying that to social justice, they will design a plan, develop their websites, and then students will present this topic and their findings and their proposed solutions to the class. So when I was reflecting on my learning plan, I looked specifically at how the standards I chose would be connected to students' experiences and challenges. And I chose a whole bundle for my standards because I felt like they fit my whole 5E learning plan. And the bundle was what happens when objects collide. So for like my experiment of the 5E lesson plan, I had students like be engineers and design something that when an egg dropped, the egg wouldn't crack from like a certain height. And so like the first two standards in this bundle apply to that mostly. But then the last standard could also apply to the social action curriculum plan. And it is plan and carry out fair tests in which variables are controlled and failure points are considered to identify aspects of a model or prototype that can be improved. So obviously they can do that with the egg drop too, but for their social action curriculum plan with these standards, the learning plan meets them in a way that students see the application to their everyday lives. A science learning plan that doesn't just spit scientific facts at them or a procedure to memorize, but a learning plan that holds relevance to the social issues that my students might be facing. This lesson also allows students to become engineers themselves and to create and design things like a scientist would. And they develop explanations to problems that they see in the world and propose possible solutions while also going back to reevaluate a solution if someone counters it. So while they're working on these social action plans, a student in the group could say, well, like, that's not going to work because of this. So students have to reevaluate that solution and come up with another one. So this social action curriculum plan, students are constantly collaborating, not just in the classroom, but with their community, with the community members, and students will feel like they are making a difference in the community or in the school or wherever they choose their social action curriculum plan on. And so while there's not a right path or procedure to take that follows instructions, that could be challenging for some students because they're not having steps to follow and they really have to design their own path and explanations and solutions to these issues. But discovering information and exploring those explanations is a way to give opportunities to critically think inside and outside the classroom about science and social justice.